misconduct. The commissioner of New York City's Department of Environmental Protection is taking a 1-month leave from her post. In a statement, the agency said Emily Lloyd will leave until June for unspecified medical reasons. DEP's first deputy commissioner, Stephen Lewitz, will serve as acting commissioner in the interim. A 4th case of the Zika virus has been found in Connecticut. The State Department of Public Health says the latest patient is a woman in her 30s. Officials say she traveled from the Caribbean to Connecticut late last month. Officials say travel to that region has resulted in 426 cases of Zika in the continental United States. And police on Long Island say increased efforts to fight an opioid crisis have resulted in more than 150 arrests and seizure of more than $1 million this year. Newsday reports Suffolk police also say they've doubled the number of executed drug search warrants in 2016 compared to the same time last year. For the rest of today, we could see some more of this rain, possibly some thunderstorms. It'll be cloudy, high near 53 through the day. Tonight, a chance of showers. It'll be cloudy, the low just around 50. And then looking ahead to our weekend here, tomorrow, Saturday, chance of showers, mostly cloudy. The high could hit about 60 in the afternoon. And then showers possible tomorrow night, mostly cloudy with a low around 52. It's 49 and cloudy right now in Central Park. You're listening to WNYC and WNYC.org at 106.
Support for NPR comes from Constant Contact, with email marketing features like drag-and-drop editing and mobile-friendly templates. Constant Contact is committed to helping small businesses and nonprofits become marketers. Learn more at ConstantContact.com. You're listening to The Leonard Lopate Show on AM 820 and 93.9 WNYC.
Tanya Yanagihara's second novel bears the modest title A Little Life, but nothing about this book is small. The paperback edition, published by Anchor, comes in at 800 pages, and the book is weighty in a literal and metaphorical sense as well, addressing topics like childhood sexual abuse and the difficulty of recovering from trauma, as it tells the story of 4 friends who meet in college and follows their lives through the next several decades. It was a New York Times bestseller, won the Kirkus Prize, and was a finalist for both the Man Booker Prize and the National Book Award. We spoke last March, and we're rebroadcasting the conversation for you now. I started by noting that her novel had been widely compared to Mary McCarthy's classic, The Group, and I asked her if she had read it.
I haven't read it, and I still haven't. It's a very unsatisfying answer.
Does that annoy you when people say this book is obviously influenced by a book that you never read?
No, I mean, I think it happens all the time that we look at a given work of art and we see echoes of another, and often the creator of that work of art is not conscious of it, or is in sort of a subconscious level.
Well, a big difference is in your novel, all the friends are men. Why did you want to explore long-term relationships among men rather than women, or a mix of men and women?
I think friendships among men have a particular sort of language and a particular sort of tenor. You know, I've spoken before about how men are simply, it's not that they don't have access to a full range of emotions, but they're certainly far less encouraged to discuss certain things that women are allowed to discuss with one another, sensations like shame and fear and vulnerability. And so when you see a bunch of men together, the way that they react with among themselves is very different than the way they react and interact among women, or in different groups.
So were you being an anthropologist?
A little bit. You know, I went to an all-female college, and then I graduated into an all-female industry, into book publishing. And so at the time when I should have really been observing boys become young men, I wasn't, and they were always objects of interest to me. The other thing is, as a novelist, it's really wonderful to work with a group of people who are limited by society in some way, because either they don't have legal rights to something, or because they're not encouraged to have, full rights to personhood in some sense. And so it was it's a great gift to be able to work within the boundaries of a group.
The 4 men, Jude, Willem, J.B., and Malcolm, meet as freshmen at an elite college in Massachusetts, and they remain close into adulthood. Do you think most people form their closest friendships when they leave their parents' homes?
I think for some people they do. I mean, that wasn't the case for me. Most of my close friends have been made well into adulthood. But I think that we romanticize these sorts of relationships that we make as young people, or we make as new adults, and we think that there's a sort of special gravity to them, and there's a certain sort of enchantment. For some people that's true, and for some people it's not. But I did want to play with the romance of that idea that the best friends are the ones you've had for the longest period, which isn't always the case.
This is so different from the things you do normally. You've worked as an editor at Condé Nast Traveler. Now you're at the New York Times Tea magazine, which is often about fashion.
Right.
This is nothing like that.
It is and isn't. I mean, it's the book is about movement to some extent. It's about being able to feel that you have a right to go anywhere in the world. It's about being able to see other people, and that was something I certainly learned from Traveler. And it is, to some extent, even though I started the job after I finished this book, about the culture of materialism and about how things define us, and about how sometimes when you grow up with nothing, you are looking for beauty in however you can find it in whatever form.
At the center of your story is Jude St. Francis, a brilliant lawyer, but he's emotionally and physically scarred. Why is he so troubled?
I think, well, he's somebody who's had a particularly traumatic childhood, and I don't think that everyone reacts to trauma as a child in the same way, but it does leave its mark upon you. And I wanted him to be someone who was a bifurcated person, someone who was terrifying at work and highly competent, and became increasingly broken outside of work as he got older. And one of the themes of the book is how I think sometimes when we're younger, we think that the things that happened to us when we were children haven't really affected us that much. And part of adulthood is awakening to the